Hello everyone, today I'll be walking you through some common issues that can occur in Karamba3D models when it comes to supports. As an example, I will use this simple hall structure with a truss system. The first thing that I'm going to look at is the warning from Assemble Model component. When I look at the warning, I can see a message that says, could not find node where the support index 1 and index 4 are attached. What this typically means is that the support point that I'm trying to apply doesn't actually exist in the structural model. So in other words, it's not attached to any of the geometry that I've defined. I have a visual note of this because when I look at the supports of the structure, I can see these green arrows that show that the supports have been defined. And I notice that these arrows are missing in these 2 points. So if I zoom into these points, I see that indeed these points are not attached to the structure, and that's why Karamba can't assign them. One thing that I can do to avoid this is to actually use the PTS output from the create linear element and use those points to define the supports. In this case, I use the PTS output from the component that creates the trusses to generate the columns. I selected these side points from the truss and used them to create the columns. Now let's redefine the supports. I will delete these points since we don't need them. And since I know that these columns have been created from the PTS output and they're for sure part of the structure, I can simply extract the endpoints and use those points as our supports. However, although that I've done this, I still see a warning at the assemble model. Let's see what it is. When I look at the warning, I notice a completely different issue. It says that there are already defined supports where I've tried to apply my points, and this means that there's actually double points or double supports in the support component. As you can see, the model still calculates, however, there may be mistakes when it comes to reaction forces. Luckily, there's a quick fix for this. Since I have double points, the easiest thing to do is to simply remove these double points. Conveniently, in Karamba3D, there is a component called Remove Duplicate Points that does precisely that. Now we can plug the endpoints and feed them back into the point output of the support component. And we can see that the assemble model doesn't show any more warnings. Thank you and see you at the next video.